All right, today we're going to be talking about the fourth house, giving you the full meaning explained. We're going to be going through the significations, the things that the fourth house represents in the area of your life. We're going to be going through the planets, so the beneficial, more auspicious, easier planets in the fourth house, and some of the more difficult, challenging planets in the fourth house. Then we're going to be going through the fourth lord, which is, think of it like the director of the fourth house, and what it means when you have the fourth lord, meaning the ruler or lord of the sign that holds the fourth house cusp. What it means when you have it in different houses. We're not going to go through all the houses, but just to give you a general idea of what it means to have the fourth lord in different houses. And then finally, we're going to go through all the signs, all 12 signs in the fourth house to see how it colors, thematically changes and affects the vibe, the genre, the energy of the fourth house, because that's what the signs represent. They represent the themes, the energy, the vibe, while the houses themselves are more like the location, the what, the where, the physical structure, and then the signs are the interior design. Okay? So let's get started. First, significations. What does the fourth house mean in astrology? What does it represent? Well, most importantly, it represents the home, the mother, your emotions, land, and to kind of really give it this overarching signification, your private life or your internal landscape. It is the most hidden house because, or the least visible, let's say the least visible to the external world or to everybody else, because the fourth house, the most visible is the 10th being the zenith. So when the sun is at 12 o'clock, it's at the top of the sky, that's when it's going to be in the 10th house. At midnight, that's when the sun is in the fourth house. So the fourth house is midnight. It is that internal. It is your emotions. It is your private life. It is your comfort zone where you feel most comfortable, the place where you get away from everything. It's like your den, your lair. That is the fourth house. Like I said, it also represents vehicles, land, real estate, luxuries as well. So earlier in the series, I obviously do this for all the houses. We've gotten up to 4, but I did 1, 2, 3. Now we're at 4. But when I talked about the second house, it is the house of wealth, but it's more of that responsible wealth that you use to pay your bills, to put food on the table, to make sure you have a house, to make sure that everybody is comfortable and has their basic needs met. That's why it's really closely associated with the moon. Fourth house, on the other hand, is that fun wealth, is that the wealth that you spend on nice cars, real estate, land, that extra, even not jewelry, but luxuries, let's put it that way. The comforts, the luxuries, the excess fun wealth is signified by the fourth house. And that also means that D4, the chatter chamsa, sorry. I'm not the best with the pronunciation of these Sanskrit terms, but in Vedic astrology, there's divisional charts, essentially making the fourth house an entire chart, a chart within a chart. It is, like I said, a derivative of the birth chart. So the fourth house is the fourth associated with the D4, which is the fourth divisional chart, which represents your luxury, that excess fun, extra spending money wealth that you spend on luxuries, that you spend on vehicles, that you spend on land, that you spend on property and real estate and all of those things. Boats and planes, if you have that kind of FU money, right? So that is all the fourth house. When it comes to the body parts, right? So we have the head for the first house, we have the face and the throat. I said neck in the second video for the second house, but it's actually the throat, the neck, the shoulder, arms, and hands. That is the third house, or Gemini, because they're associated with the signs. And the fourth is your chest. It is your chest cavity and the lungs associated with Cancer. So that is the body part ruled by the fourth house. So again, things, planets in the fourth house, the fourth lord itself can affect your lung area, your chest area. So, an afflicted fourth house can be associated with an afflicted chest area cavity or lungs or breathing capacity. Because it's most of, it's like the bottom part of the lungs, especially that full part when you take that deep, relaxing breath, because the fourth house is really about letting go and relaxing. Maybe not letting go, that's more the 12th, but relaxing and getting away from the toils, from having to do the hard karmic work and responsibility and duty that is signified by the 10th house. And also, Like I said, the mother too is a big part of it. Fourth house is the mother, 10th house is the father. So the fourth house can also tell you about your mother or your home life in general and your upbringing in that capacity. And it can also represent your extended family. So second house is that immediate family, the one that is directly responsible for you, that nuclear family unit. And fourth house is more of the extended family, your cousins, your uncles, your grandparents, as a whole, as a collective. Now, each house can represent a different family member. Like I said, fourth house for the mother, 10th for the father, ninth for like the grandchildren, fifth for the children, third for the siblings. So these are just different significations. Fourth is just kind of like that overarching big family unit, the whatever your last name is. So it's like the Johnsons, the Smiths is the fourth house, that overarching gestalt, grander family unit that you're a part of. Now we go to the planets. So the natural significator, the natural producer of the fourth house is unsurprisingly the moon, because you have the fourth sign, Cancer, being associated with the fourth house, also with the mother, which the moon is associated with our feminine side, our sign of the side of the mother. And this is because it represents our emotions, our mind, our internal landscape, how we feel. Also can represent the home, can also represent our comforts and the things that we find comfortable. The moon itself can represent what we find comfortable, right? Whatever the moon's looking at, wherever the moon is going to be our natural comfort zone, along with the fourth house, along with the fourth lord. So when you want to really analyze the fourth house, you want to look at the moon as well to really see the quality of your emotions, your self-image, because the fourth house too is also our self-image, right? What's the difference between self-image and say, self-esteem? Well, self-esteem is the way we are treated by others based off of who we are. So it's more externally focused, usually associated with our actions, self-confidence. Self-image is about the way we see ourselves and the way we accept ourselves. Are we able to see ourselves in an honest, pure light? Meaning it's not distorted by insecurities or negative emotions or trauma, but having a clear perception of ourselves is our self-image. That is seen by the moon, by Cancer, by the fourth house. Okay? And the way that we can allow ourselves to make mistakes, to have flaws, and to not be so hard on ourselves. That is significant. That is represented by a healthy fourth house, a healthy moon, a healthy Cancer sign. Now, moon does amazing in the fourth house. Actually, it's probably the best planet to have in the fourth house is the moon. But also another really great planet to have there is Venus. Because when you have the moon or Venus in the fourth house, you have somebody who is more able to look inside of themselves, have an honest assessment of how they feel, and take actions and steps to fulfill their emotions in a good way, or in a fulfilling way is probably a better, more sustainable, healthy, satisfying way. So when you have Venus in the fourth house, as long as it's not, obviously not afflicted or, in bad dignity, it's more of like all things being equal just by the sign. Venus, you have somebody who makes choices that are fulfilling and that are satisfying, and they're able to take the time to step back into their private life, the fourth house, analyze and assess the situation, and then take action towards something that will actually be fulfilling, which is the 10th house. Okay? Now, probably the most difficult planet to have in the fourth house is Mars, because it is very low in Digbala. The moon and Venus have strong Digbala, which is directional strength, meaning that you can direct your life using those planets in an efficient way, in the ways that I just described. When you have Mars in the fourth house, unfortunately, again, all things being equal, it can be helped out by friends through aspect, can be in a good, powerful sign like Capricorn or Aries or Scorpio, signs it likes, even a friend sign like Sagittarius. But all things being equal, when you have it in the fourth house, Mars, you could have a propensity for repressed anger. So you can have, anxiety. So this will manifest, right? So usually it's so repressed that you can have certain problems that are chronic, like anxiety, panic attacks. You could have hormone imbalances or skin problems where that anger tries to manifest in some way, but it's not going to be done consciously. So it has to be done unconsciously. You might be somebody who's prone to accidents or getting into conflict. Not even necessarily saying it's your fault. Like I have a friend who has Mars Ketu in the fourth house, and she's not antagonistic at all. She's actually more, let's say, docile or agreeable. but she's passive aggressive in ways that she's sometimes not aware of. And she's finding herself being in the middle of conflict, having to mediate conflict. And another thing as well with Mars in the fourth house or with the South Node Ketu, which kind of exacerbates her problem with the repressed anger, is you can have somebody who has very violent dreams because they're not expressing that anger, they're not expressing that Mars martial energy, that direct, confrontational, aggressive martial energy consciously in the moment. Whenever they feel those emotions, they're repressing it so intensely, unconsciously, can manifest through violent dreams and trying to bring our awareness to the fact that, hey, there's anger involved. There's anger inside of you that needs to be processed and developed and cultivated and expressed in whatever way is best for you, because everyone has their own methodology, right? So Mars is difficult. It can also bring conflict in the home. I mean, Mars is martial energy, about conflict, fighting, problems, overcoming obstacles, being militant. It's very intense, malefic Mars. So that can bring that to the home. And that can be difficult, where your home life is combative. There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of aggressiveness and anger that is let out at the home. And it's not expressed publicly, naturally, in your day-to-day whenever you're managing your life and standing up for yourself, but it can be let out at home through the people at home. They can express it for you, because that's another thing too. Whatever we repress in ourselves will be expressed by the people around us, and particularly the most by our family members or our partners or our children, because we're around them all the time. And that's why we have this crazy scenario where some of the people who treat us the worst are actually the people who love us the most, or who we spend the most amount of time with, is because that's when our shadows come out. Okay? So Mars is difficult. North Node also is difficult. Rahu is difficult in the fourth house because, again, it can make somebody, Rahu's going to be difficult no matter where he is, the North Node, but it can make somebody more unconscious. There can be self-deceit happening there because they're not emotionally honest with themselves or the people around them. They might express certain emotions that are not actually genuine. For example, say, somebody doesn't call them and they express anger, or they are critical or whatever, but deep down they feel sad, they feel grief, they feel lonely, things like that. Now we go to the fourth lord. So the fourth lord is obviously going to be associated with the home, emotions, private life, luxury, conveyances, even like meditation, mindfulness, which is also represented by the fourth house, which I did not mention before. And whenever you have a lord somewhere, you want to think about the lord of a house as the director. The house itself is the area of life, home, mother, skills, siblings, body, challenges, obstacles, faraway places, long distance journeys, relationships, children, creativity, 10th house, career, or managing public life, right? So these are the things that it represents, the area of your life. So if you're like, what is my career going to be like? You look at the 10th house. What is my home going to be like? You look at the fourth house. What is my body going to be like? First house. What is my partner going to be like? Seventh house. But then that's the house itself, right? Then the signs, like I said before, are the themes, the genre that color the house, the interior design of the house that gives it a different vibe, a different energy. Then you have the actors, the players, which are the planets themselves, right? But then the lord of a house is going to be like the director, okay? So you have the actors, you have the play set, you have the genre, the vibe, right? The color of the play, and then you have the director himself. And wherever that director goes is going to bring the aspects of life into that house as a service. So for me personally, I have Saturn in the sixth house, who's my fourth lord and also my third lord. So that means, fourth lord goes into the sixth house. You have somebody who their home life, their private life is going to be involving habits and health and routine and service and work, which is very much my life. I have a daily routine that I do at home very consistently. I'm very conscientious about my health when I stay at home. I, like to work hard and to be of service through, this medium right here. So the fourth house significations serve or support or reinforce or work for sixth house things. Okay. So you have fourth lord in, let's say, the 11th house. So your private life, your home life serves in some certain way your social networks or your connections or your gains. So it could be a scenario where you like to host people a lot. You like to have people at home and host social events in your home. Or let's say you gain, 11th house is also income. So if you have the fourth house, which represents land, real estate, somebody who gains an income through land, through real estate, right? Or through owning luxuries and maybe not selling them off, but renting them off, or having, stocks and bonds, things like that appreciate, that extra wealth that can appreciate, give you more gains. You might be somebody who, let's say, does school at home, or works from home. I do school from home. I don't have my fourth lord in the 11th house, but things of that nature, meaning that the fourth house things or significations are going to serve that area of your life. Or, fourth lord in the fifth house, whenever you're private, your emotions, that serve your creativity or serve your, creative expression, your path, your natural state of being, right? So that is just kind of overarching, wherever you see the fourth lord, that director of that house is going to be directing your life towards the area of life that it is in. Wherever the fourth lord is in is going to be an emphasis on that house based off of fourth house significations. Now, and also for the D4 too, I almost forgot, the D4 is the main graha, the main planet that is most significant in the D4 Chatotramsa is Mercury, because we use Mercury for our, let's say, material acumen or ability to find success in this world, because it's all about planning and not necessarily routine, but for the skills and the intelligence and the IQ and the development and the, like I said, planning and management. All those things matter for gaining success, right? This is why people track their IQ so much, which is represented by Mercury, because it is the most powerful, let's say, not correlate, but determinant, or let's say correlate too. I mean, it's correlated most highly with success. Not even compared to any other factor. If someone has a high IQ, they're going to be successful. They'll be way more likely to be successful in society and be able to play the game of life better because they have a high IQ. That's Mercury. Mercury can give you that extra wealth if it's good in D4, if it's good even just in your Rashi chart, your main birth chart, your natal chart. If it's healthy there, you have an ability to develop those skills, to get the information, plan, manage your life in a way, handle the logistics to find success. All right, so we do Aries. Aries in the fourth house. What does that signify? Or how does this sign, Aries, the first sign, color your fourth house if you have it there? So when you have Aries in the fourth house, your private life is going to probably have a lot of energy to it, more energy to it, more dynamic, more changeable. So somebody might have an experience where they're moving more often than the average person. Or there is, let's say, a pioneering spirit at home, meaning that there can be a lot of passionate exchanges. It doesn't have to be violent, right? That, if it gets negative or it gets destructive, depends on the quality of Mars in the fourth house, so planets in the fourth house. But in general, there's going to be kind of that martial energy. So, also with the fourth house, because it's your private life, because it's your home, it's also, where you feel comfortable, right? So when it comes to having Aries in the fourth house, your comfort zone and the way that you like to regulate your emotions will be through taking action, through facing problems, or fixing things. Because Mars he takes on problems, he takes them on head on and fixes problems and takes on challenges as well. And also likes to start things, follow ideas. So there might be a lot of ideas that you get whenever you're in private. Whenever you're at home, you might have lots of ideas. You want to take action, you want to fix problems, you want to expel some of that excess energy. Now that also, again, like I said, depends. If you have Saturn here, then you might have more of that repressive energy because, it's balanced out by the Saturn. So you don't want to always look at things in a vacuum, but it's just giving you that basic thematic vibe of, you're going to have an Aries vibe energy, that warrior energy in your home, in your comfort zone, and how you regulate your emotions in your private life, away from the world. Ooh. Next one we go to is going to be Taurus. Taurus is much different. Taurus is going to be more stable, more secure, more slow and steady, wins the race. Less likely to be moving around a lot when it comes to your home, more likely to have a more stable, say, solid home environment, private life, and internal landscape. When it comes to emotional regulation, or what is comfortable, what is the comfort zone of a person with Taurus in the 4th house, sensual pleasures, sensual comforts. So they're going to want a cozy home. They're going to want, a beautiful home, maybe even nature too, because Venus loves nature. Saturn as well, but Venus loves like aesthetically nice, beautiful nature. So you might want a nice, comfortable, sensual. And when I mean sensual, not like has to be sexual, but more so, let's say a bed that feels comfortable, or like things that are very comforting and relaxing, but feel good. Okay. That's what happens in the 4th house as well. Also, when it comes to like luxuries or vehicles, you're going to want nice things. You will like the finer things. You will like quality, and more particular, quality things. Doesn't have to be overly extravagant. Doesn't have to be, flashy for flashy sake, but you like high quality things that will last, that look good, feel good, and we're gonna last as well. Unless I already said that. I think I already said that. But yeah, especially things that'll be lasting. Things, if you get like a nice, high quality clothes or high quality shoes, they're not going to break down. You're going to want that kind of energy in your home. You want to make sure it's somewhere where you can spend a lot of time, feel comfortable, and feel supported and stable. Gemini. So Gemini is going to be different than that. Gemini likes variety. Gemini is eclectic. So when it comes to your private life, home life, or internal landscape, it's going to be more varied. So if you want to take a more literal standpoint, you might be somebody who has a lot of different trinkets or different hobbies or different interests around the world. So like action figures or collections. You might be somebody who really likes to learn and develop themselves in their home, or when they're alone, or in their private life. They like to pontificate or think about things or try things or experiment and tinker with things. Mercury, especially in Gemini form, likes to tinker, likes to experiment, likes to see what will happen by combining these different combinations together. That will happen a lot at home. A lot of experimentation, a lot of skill development, a lot of fun at the home, in the home life, and regulating emotions and feeling comfortable, the intellect. But a different intellect than Aquarius, which is more progressive, which is more broad. Intellect that is dissecting things and like I said, pontificating, thinking about, inquiring. Journaling would be really, really powerful for somebody who might feel like their emotions are all over the place, because you start to organize your thoughts and start to analyze them from a more objective, mercurial perspective lens. So Gemini, regulating emotions, comfort zone, using the intellect, and working with things that you find interesting and you find fascinating. And also variety too, like I said, not wanting to do like Taurus, a lot more comfortable doing one thing, having a very unified, cohesive home that's kind of all tied together. Gemini, more so like, a different room has like a different theme or a different vibe, or there's just a lot more variety going on, a lot more different things that are stimulating in the home environment, in the private life. Cancer, you have the 4th sign in the 4th house on the nose, Aries ascendant. That's always the case. So when you have Cancer in the 4th house, it's, 4th house on 4th house energy, right? Comforting, nurturing home, classic home. When it comes to, in your private life, you want to have people that are around you that you care about and that care about you. You want to have that mutual support, that mutual nurturing, that mutual care. Now, Gemini would probably be more okay with having friends over or being around different people, having more variety. Taurus probably wants more of a, just the people that they know. But when it comes to Cancer, they really want to feel connected to the people in their life. They want to feel emotionally involved, emotionally invested in their family, in they want to have emotional sentimentality in the things in their house. So somebody who'd more likely have family pictures or pictures with loved ones around the house, right? Gemini in the fourth house, more like travels or interesting things that they find interesting, right? But with Cancer, more like sentimental aspects in the home and feeling like it's like a really nurturing, caring, comfortable environment. Comfort zone is feeling your emotions and also working or doing things that regulate your emotions, calm you. It's the fourth house in the chest, breathing exercises, light breathing exercises at home can be a great way to regulate your emotions and feeling comfortable, just being in proper company, being in a place where you feel safe. I know that sounds like, oh, wouldn't everybody want this? Well, no, because some people like, Aries in the fourth house, they might feel like that's a little bit too boring or that's a little bit too like, static, right? Or if you have Leo, like it's not big enough or it's not like powerful enough, it's a little bit too much comforting and soft and cushy and caring. So that is somebody with Cancer in the fourth house. And as I just mentioned, Leo, as we flow into that aspect, Leo in the fourth house will be somebody who most likely will want to be in charge at home, be in charge of their private life. They will very much have a territorial energy when it comes to their home, their space, and their internal landscape. I mean, they want to dominate, they want to be the head of things, or they want to be at the center, the core. Regulating emotions, comfort zone, I mean, pretty straightforward. Being creative, being extravagant or noticeable, being at the center, right? Being at center stage or being seen. But again, within the context of their private life. Not saying they have to be out there on like stage as like a famous person or anything like that. But the theme is more so like they feel comfortable actually, believe it or not, when people notice them or when they're at the center of attention or when they're at least at the very least creating something and in their space. And when they feel like this is my space, this is my territory, I am protecting it, I am managing it, I am the king here. That's when they feel comfortable. So when they're in their own space, they are the king of the pride in their space. That is Leo in the fifth house. Also, and I always say, you got to make sure you know, where's the sun? What's the sun's qualities? What sign is the sun in? What house is the sun in? What planets and house lords are in the fourth house? These will all mediate, these will all affect this description, but again, laying that foundation, just giving you a general framework of what these different signs be doing in the fourth house. Virgo. Feel like people could guess this one pretty easily. Virgo, tidy, organized, let's say clean, tidy, clean, organized home is a strong preference for somebody with Virgo in the fourth house, as long as it's not afflicted, but just baseline thematically. There's going to be a detailed approach. Things are going to be in order. It's going to be refined. Could be minimalist, but very practical. And like Taurus, practical in the sense of having the things that they feel they need tangibly, right? Aries can do with less. They don't need so many things. Gemini, it's more about the things that are interesting or fascinating, like action figures or collectibles or things like that. They don't need anything that's practical. Where when it comes to, say Taurus, but I feel like even more so Virgo, is things that they can make sure they use. So, if I'm say like a mechanic and I have a Virgo in the fourth house, they're going to have their tools. They're going to make sure that their home is full of the things that they need to be a functional, responsible human being. They'll have all the cleaning materials on deck. They're not going to, buy it whenever a spill happens. They're going to have all the things they need to take care of their home, make sure it's sustained. More likely to have, stuff that's handy around the house or want to have a person who can deal with the handy stuff around the house, have the, the toolkits to repair things and to fix things and develop it, because that's also another thing with Virgo is developing, fixing, refining, and emotional regulation, comfort zone. Where do they feel comfortable? Cleaning, organizing, purifying, developing, making things better, refurbishing things. That feels very comfortable to somebody who has Virgo in the fourth house. That is just their natural state. But again, you also have to look at the fourth lord, because that'll be about 50-50 is, planets, sign, fourth house, lord, planets with the fourth lord, and also the sign that it's in. Libra, feeling's pretty straightforward, pretty on the nose, would want a nice, balanced, harmonious, peaceful home. Private life, they want it to be peaceful, aesthetically pleasing, right? It doesn't have to be as material, like feeling tactile, comfortable as, say, a Taurus or even a Cancer, but more so in the sense of things look good and things are cool and aesthetically pleasing. And when people are there, everyone's happy, so they're more willing to compromise in their space. Like Tauruses will usually want their space to be the way they want it to be, to feel literally, even on their skin, on their bodies, sensationally comfortable and agreeable to them. But Libra, they're more willing to compromise with a partner, be more willing to harmonize the different tastes. Now, obviously, it depends on certain factors, but that's just kind of baseline. They just want a peaceful, harmonious environment. It's more about the energy too with Libra, as opposed to the physical. Just the space, the energy is clean, it is tranquil. When it comes to emotional regulation, when it comes to comfort zone for Libra, social dynamics, social relationships. They are also somebody who would like to host or like to have their friends over, people they care about, where they feel like everybody's happy, everybody's having a good time, things are harmonious, the aesthetics are really cool. Probably somebody who would want to have like a jazz night or, invite people over, cook a nice dinner, have candles, and the smells are good. Everything is just in its place, balanced, harmonious, chill. And so they regulate their emotions and they find comfort in social interactions where everybody is getting what they need or where they're making a compromise that leads to a win-win scenario. Next up is Scorpio. Scorpio is a little bit different, more intense, right? More mysterious, so less likely to have company, less likely to invite people over. Not saying they won't, but usually they want to make sure they trust you. They're not just going to invite anybody over, right? Scorpio, like a Libra or Gemini, would be more than willing to go out with a friend and meet some people out and say, "Oh, come over." And if the vibes are right, if the vibes are aligned, right? Gemini, if the people are interesting or have cool stories or cool things about them or providing cool information. Libra, if the energy, the vibe is right, if they feel like they can relate to these people and that there's a harmonious dynamic between them, yeah, come over. Scorpio, it's like they're a little bit more like, can I trust you? Are you going to betray me? Or bringing people into their private life. They'll have a more intense home life. There can be some trauma. There can be some some severe discomfort, some inner demons they have to face whenever they're alone. Wherever Scorpio is, it's the most painful sign. He's going to be causing, or it will be causing problems. We all have Scorpio somewhere. There's always going to be a place where it causes us pain, difficulty, suffering. It's just, where is it? And obviously the quality of the planets in Scorpio and the Lord Mars quality will affect how intense, how destructive, how detrimental, how painful. But there's always going to be a little bit of that energy there. And so home life could have been lacking in certain areas. Could be some fears or some trauma you have to face involving your home. It's just a natural part of the game. We all have to go through our Scorpio shit at some point or another, depending on what area of life is, dependent on your ascendant and when you were born. And when it comes to comfort, when it comes to emotional regulation, transmutation. And what transmutation means is not transformation, because transformation is one thing kind of turning into another. Transmutation is being able to turn, well, I guess transformation is more like an evolution, like a pure changing. Transmutation is more of like a redirection of energy. So it's like the same energy, but it's just going in a different direction. And so when you're emotional regulation, when you're at home, you're feeling that lack, you're feeling that trauma or that fear, you face it head on, you feel that pain, you learn to breathe and you learn to sit with it, and you turn it into peace, and you let it dissipate by facing it. You face your inner demons when you're at home or in your private life. Can also be good for real estate, believe it or not, because Scorpio is a fixed sign. It's also ruled by Mars, which rules real estate. And so, especially if you had Mars in Scorpio or just Scorpio in the fourth house in general, somebody who can be fortunate in real estate and be somebody who holds on to that land, holds on to their home, has a more consistent home, a home that is also feels emotionally safe. Cancer, emotional safe as well, but more of like satisfying and fulfilling and peaceful. Where Scorpio, it's like as long as at home, I feel safe. I feel isolated from any danger. The last thing Scorpio in the fourth house would want is anyone that comes in that can be a threat of any kind. Again, isn't that everybody? Well, of course, it's everybody to a certain degree. We all have Scorpio somewhere. We all have the different signs, but there's levels to it. And so it'd be very, very important. They'll be very aware. They'll be very conscientious and cautious about who they invite into their private life, into their space, into their emotional world, because there is that fear. There is that, let's say, even paranoia of their emotions being harmed, their private life being soiled by an antagonistic force. Next is Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is going to be more adventurous, have more of an open mind in the sense of that be more inviting in their space, in their private life. They might be inquisitive when they're, at home. They might want to be learning about spirituality or just, meditating or focusing on their goals. Because really that's what Sagittarius, really signifies most, is having a purpose, having a goal. And that's for emotional regulation. For comfort zone is pursuing a goal, having a purpose. If they feel like they're doing something in their private life or at home and they have a purpose to think about, to ponder, to, contemplate, they have a purpose that they're doing something for, they feel comfortable, they're able to regulate their emotions because they understand that there's a greater plan, they're moving towards something, right? And they also are somebody who can be very adventurous in the sense that they might want to travel, they might want to change their home, they might want to go abroad, right? They want their home to be somewhere foreign, not where they were born. They want to go on an adventure, and they're more open and willing to kind of be less committed to one place. Scorpio, going to be like, okay, I want to make sure I have a solid foundation. I want to know where my home is. Sagittarius, be a little bit more open. Even Gemini, right, can be a little bit more open to the idea of moving around. Aries too. If this place isn't the place that I'm going to start something new or follow my ideas, Aries, I'm going to go somewhere else. Scorpio, a little bit less so. Taurus, hey, as long as this place is comfortable and aesthetically pleasing, I'm cool. I'm chilling, right? Libra, as long as I am socializing and, my home is harmonious and, mostly peaceful, I'm chill. Where Sagittarius is like, no, I want to expand, I want to explore, I want to expand my horizons and to see different things and try different cultures. They're more willing to explore, change their location, live abroad with this placement. But again, look where Jupiter is, what house, what sign, what planets are in the fourth house in Sagittarius. These things will affect it. Fourth house Capricorn, which is what I have personally. Somebody who can enjoy minimalistic house. So, they're not too big on having their home be extravagant or comfortable, like a Leo, or, or stand out like Leo, or to be, let's say sensually stimulating or enjoyable or comforting like a Cancer or a Taurus. With Capricorn, it's like it can be bare minimum, whatever I need. It can be clean. It can also be traditional, like they don't need their home to be stand out or be unique. Just, hey, I can live here. I get the job done. Also be more, hardworking at home because you have the 10th sign, right? 10th sign in the fourth house. So it can kind of be that interesting dynamic of when you're home, it's just about being efficient, being disciplined. Don't need all the extra stuff. Don't need all the extra, bells and whistles. Just need what I need to practically move towards my goals or to find that success or the ambition, right? You also have somebody that might work from home. I do. I go to school and I also work from home, do the work that I do. So These interesting little tidbits you can start to learn as you learn about the signs and how they color or change, right? Change or, let's say, shift the meanings a little bit of the fourth or the different houses in general. And when it comes to emotional regulation, when it comes to the comfort zone, working hard towards success or practical achievement, right? Real achievement, not like, oh, I feel fulfilled inside, but like, I got that promotion or I achieved a certain follower count or I hit a financial goal. Like these things are feel comfortable at home, private life, working towards something as well. A little bit different than Sagittarius in that it's a little bit more like purpose and meaning and there's kind of more of a transcendent aspect to it. Or Capricorn, it's like that goal has got to be real. I have this, it's a dollar amount, it's whatever. It's not just like I'm a person who's doing this and I have meaning, whatever. It's no, I need to be making six figures. I need to get that promotion. I need to set myself up to, move to this place or to get this relationship, whatever it may be, but it's something very tangible, very practical, very solid, something you can touch. Now, Aquarius, on the other hand, be more open to having an eclectic, intellectually stimulating environment. Unique, right? These are things that Aquarius signifies. Somewhere that is a good place for psychological contemplation and introspection, because that is what Aquarius is, a very psychologically introspective sign. You have a psychological sign in a psychological house. It's of the mind, it's the fourth house, it's a moksha house, liberation, but an internal emotional house. So somebody who emotionally regulates, feels comfortable, psychologically psychoanalyzing themselves or psychoanalyzing other people or finding psychological reasons or intellectual reasons why they're feeling the way that they're feeling or why things are the way that they are and seeing them within the broader picture of society and humanity as a whole. And also thinking about progress and thinking about the future and thinking about innovations in a way to make their life better and the world and humanity better as a whole. These things can regulate their emotions. These things can feel comfortable where they just feel at home. Literally, they feel at home in their minds, in the intellect, thinking about progress in the future and maybe even technology, interacting with technology. Might be somebody who enjoys having a lot of technology around or playing video games or working computer or even interacting with AI, especially if you have Rahu hit there, which can be a lot of things going on, but you can have somebody who's into using technology in their private life and likes to psychoanalyze themselves and other people in general as a baseline. Next, we have Pisces, or actually finally we have Pisces before we end this video. With Pisces is an expansive sign. It is a water sign, so you have that desire for emotional connection. You have the like I said, the expansiveness, the openness, the intuition, the imagination. Aquarius is more that intellectual imagination, very linear, contemplative, but more of like, technological, progressive, futuristic. Pisces is more that spiritual liberation, that like surrender happening. And so home life, private life, want it to be the most relaxing where you can just truly escape, truly get away from the toils of the world, get away from the responsibilities, just go somewhere where you can just melt into nothing. Or meditate or do your spiritual practices as well. Or again, like I said, just relax. Now, it can lead to escape its tendencies. I always say that with Pisces. If you've been following, you might notice a pattern. He keeps mentioning escapism. It's like, well, because you got to be mindful, right? You want to dissolve boundaries. With Capricorn, home, you want it to be structured. You want it to be more traditional, more minimalist. It's going to be more, like I said, structured and boundaries. Virgo especially, things are in their place. Or Pisces can be naturally more like, yeah, things are in their place, but they're less neurotic about it, they're less conscientious about it, they care less. As long as they can just relax and melt and let go of the toils of the world and surrender to the moment. And that is when they feel comfortable. That's how they regulate their emotions. Is that escape? Is that surrender? Is that true letting go and relaxation and taking a nap on occasion? Because we all need naps, or we all need to at least sleep and dream and let go of this material life at times, because god damn, it's a lot, especially right now. Can I get an amen? I'm assuming you said amen. All right, that was the fourth house. Hopefully you have a much better idea and concept, understanding of this very important house, one of the big four Kendra houses. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them down below. Please feel free. I will make sure to respond in a timely fashion. The next video, we're going to be doing the fifth house. Obviously, as we go in order, we've already done the third, second, first, so you can see those videos before. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.